Welcome back everyone, and thank you for joining me today. If you love discovering hidden stories behind everyday coins, the kind that might be sitting quietly in your pocket or an old drawer at home, then you are in exactly the right place. Today we are diving into a fascinating and often misunderstood coin, the Liberty Quarter Dollar dated 1965 from the United States. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary quarter worth just 25 cents, but under the surface lies a world of mystery, errors, rare possibilities, and extraordinary value that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world. Some examples of this coin have been linked to astonishing values reaching as high as $926,000, a jaw-dropping difference from its tiny face value. Let's explore how that can even be possible and why this particular year has become so legendary. The year 1965 stands as one of the most important turning points in American coinage history. It was the moment when the United States officially transitioned away from using silver in circulating coins and moved toward copper-nickel-clad compositions. For decades before 1965, quarter dollars were struck with 90% silver, giving them intrinsic metal value as well as numismatic appeal. Rising silver prices and hoarding pressures forced the government to make a dramatic change, and 1965 became the first year quarters were officially produced without silver. This alone already makes the 1965 quarter historically significant, because it marks the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. However, major transitions in minting history often come with chaos, confusion, and mistakes, and 1965 was no exception. The U.S. Mint was under immense pressure to produce huge quantities of new clad coins quickly. Americans were hoarding silver coins, circulation shortages were severe, and demand for everyday change was overwhelming. In this rush, mistakes happened, dies were reused, experimental planchets were tested, and unusual combinations slipped through. These unusual circumstances laid the foundation for some of the most valuable errors and rarities associated with the Liberty Quarter Dollar dated 1965. One of the biggest sources of fascination around the 1965 Liberty Quarter comes from the possibility of silver planchet errors. Officially, all quarters dated 1965 were supposed to be struck on copper-nickel-clad planchets with a pure copper core. But during the transition period, leftover silver planchets from 1964 were still present in mint facilities. In rare instances, these silver blanks are believed to have accidentally been struck with 1965 dies. When this happens, the result is a 1965 quarter made of 90% silver, something that should not exist according to official records. These coins are instantly recognizable to experienced collectors by their weight, sound, and edge color, and confirmed examples are among the most sought-after transitional errors in American numismatics. A genuine 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet is not just rare, it is legendary. Only a small number of verified examples are known, and each one commands an enormous premium. When such a coin appears at auction, bidding can escalate quickly as collectors, investors, and museums compete for ownership. Depending on condition, certification, and provenance, prices can soar into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is one of the key reasons the 1965 Liberty Quarter has been associated with values approaching $926,000 in extraordinary cases. Another critical factor that drives extreme value is condition. Most 1965 quarters were heavily circulated, used in daily commerce, and show signs of wear. Finding one in pristine condition is already difficult. Finding one with a major error and pristine surfaces is exponentially rarer. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, especially those with sharp strikes, full details, and minimal marks, can multiply in value dramatically. In the numismatic world, a single grade point can mean tens of thousands of dollars, especially when combined with a major rarity. Mint mark confusion is another fascinating aspect of the 1965 quarter story. Officially, no mint marks were used on quarters from 1965 through 1967. The U.S. Mint intentionally removed mint marks to discourage collectors from hoarding coins from specific facilities. This means that any genuine 1965 quarter should not have a mint mark. However, rumors, reports, and controversial claims have circulated for decades about 1965 quarters bearing unusual mint marks or remnants of earlier punches. Some of these claims are misunderstandings or alterations, but a few have turned out to be genuine anomalies caused by die reuse or experimental processes. In some rare cases, dies originally prepared for 1964 quarters, which did include mint marks, may have been altered, over-punched, or improperly retired. If traces of a mint mark or unusual impressions appear on a 1965 quarter and can be proven to be mint-made rather than damage or tampering, the value skyrockets. Collectors pay enormous premiums for authenticated anomalies, especially when they challenge official mint policies and documented procedures. Die errors also play a massive role in the value equation. The rushed production environment of 1965 resulted in double dies, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and die breaks. Some double die obverse or reverse examples show clear doubling in the lettering, date, or liberties features. These are not minor shifts but bold, visible doubling that can be identified without magnification. Strong double die quarters from 1965 are exceptionally rare and highly desirable, particularly when the doubling affects major design elements. Off-metal errors add yet another layer of intrigue. In extremely rare circumstances, a 1965 quarter may have been struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. These mistakes occur when blanks become mixed during production. A quarter struck on a smaller or thinner planchet may show incomplete design details or unusual shapes. When authenticated, such errors are unique or nearly unique, making them priceless to specialized collectors. Clad layer errors are also associated with 1965 quarters. Because the new copper-nickel composition involved bonding layers together, bonding failures sometimes occurred. This resulted in coins missing one clad layer or showing partial separation. A quarter missing its outer nickel layer reveals the copper core and has a dramatically different appearance. While some clad errors are relatively modest in value, extreme or well-preserved examples from the first year of clad coinage can command very high prices, especially when tied to the historical significance of the transition year. Another possibility that drives interest is experimental planchets. During the mid-1960s, the mint tested various compositions and manufacturing techniques. Some experimental blanks were struck accidentally with regular dies and released into circulation. These coins may have unusual weights, colors, or metallic properties. When scientific analysis confirms an experimental composition, collectors recognize the coin as a tangible piece of mint history, not just a mistake but a surviving artifact of a pivotal moment in American coinage. The design itself also adds emotional and historical weight. The Liberty Quarter, officially known as the Washington Quarter, features George Washington's portrait, a symbol of national identity and continuity. Seeing this familiar design paired with such extraordinary rarity creates a powerful contrast. It reminds collectors that even the most common designs can hide extraordinary secrets under the right circumstances. Authentication is absolutely crucial in this market. Because of the enormous values involved, counterfeiters and scammers often target famous coins like the 1965 quarter. Altered dates, added mint marks, and plated coins are common tricks. Only coins certified by reputable grading services with detailed analysis of weight, composition, strike characteristics, and die markers can command top prices. A genuine high-value 1965 quarter will always have documentation, certification numbers, and expert verification behind it. Stories surrounding these coins often begin humbly. A coin discovered in an old jar, inherited from a relative, or found during a routine roll search suddenly becomes the focus of intense scrutiny. The thrill of the hunt is part of what keeps collectors searching through thousands of ordinary coins, hoping to find that one extraordinary example. The idea that a 25-cent coin could change someone's financial future fuels endless curiosity and passion. Auction history plays a major role in shaping perceptions of value. When a rare coin sells for a record price, it sets a benchmark that influences future expectations. High-profile sales of transitional errors or unique mint mistakes from the mid-1960s have shown that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for coins that rewrite the rulebook. A 1965 quarter that combines multiple rarity factors, such as a silver planchet, exceptional condition, and clear provenance, can push values into the realm of hundreds of thousands of dollars and beyond. The number $926,000 represents not just metal or design, but rarity, demand, historical importance, and story. It reflects how collectors value the improbable, the accidental, and the undocumented. My dear everyone, and thank you for joining today. If you love coins, hidden treasures, unbelievable values, and the thrill of discovering that something small in your pocket could change everything, then you are absolutely in the right place. Today we are diving deep into a fascinating story that has captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and everyday people alike. We are talking about the Liberty Quarter Dollar 1996p USA coin, a coin with a face value of just 25 cents, yet one that has been rumored, discussed, analyzed, and dreamed about as having a potential worth reaching an astonishing $654,000 million under extraordinary circumstances. This is not just a coin story, it is a story about rarity, chance, minting mysteries, human error, and how history, metal, and mistakes can combine to create unbelievable value. The Liberty Quarter Dollar of 1996, struck at the Philadelphia Mint and marked with the P Mint mark, appears at first glance to be an ordinary coin. Millions of Americans handled these quarters every single day. They were used to buy snacks, make phone calls, pay parking meters, and get lost between couch cushions. Most people never gave them a second thought. Yet within this massive production run lies the possibility of extreme rarity. The idea that a simple quarter could be worth more than luxury homes, supercars, and entire businesses sounds unbelievable, but in the world of numismatics, unbelievable stories often turn out to be real. To understand how such a value is even possible, we must first understand what the Liberty Quarter Dollar represents. The Liberty design is deeply rooted in American symbolism. Liberty has always been a powerful concept in United States coinage, representing freedom, independence, and national identity. By 1996, the quarter had already undergone many changes throughout history, yet it still carried with it a strong connection to America's past. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the most historic mints in the country, produced an enormous number of quarters that year. Most were standard, perfectly normal coins worth exactly what they said they were worth. But perfection is not always what collectors seek. In fact, perfection often lowers value, while imperfection, when rare and dramatic, can increase it beyond imagination. Errors are the heart of this story. Mint errors are not just small scratches or damage caused after the coin left the mint. True mint errors occur during the production process itself. These are mistakes that happen when planchets are prepared, dies are engraved, or coins are struck under abnormal conditions. When these errors escape quality control and enter circulation, they become accidental rarities. The 1996p Liberty Quarter Dollar is known among collectors as a coin where several types of errors are possible, and some of those errors, in extreme forms, could push its theoretical value into unimaginable territory. One of the most talked about possibilities involves double die errors. A double die error occurs when the coin die is impressed more than once at slightly different angles during its creation. When this flawed die strikes coins, the design elements appear doubled. On a quarter, this doubling might be seen on Liberty's features, lettering, dates, or other design details. While minor doubling is relatively common and not always valuable, dramatic and clearly visible double die errors are extremely rare. If a 1996p Liberty quarter were discovered with an exceptionally strong double die effect, especially on key design elements, it could instantly become one of the most important modern error coins ever found. Another category of errors that fuels the legend of this coin involves off-metal strikes. This happens when a coin is struck on the wrong type of planchet. Imagine a quarter struck on a planchet meant for a dime, a foreign coin, or even a completely different metal composition. Such errors are extraordinarily rare, especially when confirmed by professional grading services. A 1996p Liberty quarter struck on an incorrect planchet, particularly one made of a precious metal or an unknown experimental alloy, could drive its value to unimaginable heights. In the rarest scenarios, these coins are one of a kind, and uniqueness alone can push collectors into bidding wars that rewrite price records. Then there are broad strike errors, where the coin is struck without a proper collar. This causes the coin to spread out, becoming larger and thinner than normal. While broad strikes are known in many denominations, a perfectly preserved broad strike Liberty quarter from 1996p with additional errors layered on top could become something truly extraordinary. The value multiplies when errors stack together. A double die broad strike off metal coin is not just rare, it is nearly mythical. Mint mark errors also play a crucial role in this story. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not use mint marks on many coins for decades, but by 1996, the P mint mark was standard on quarters. A missing mint mark, a misplaced mint mark, or a doubled mint mark can all dramatically affect value. A 1996 quarter that should have a P mint mark but does not, or one where the P appears doubled or incorrectly positioned, raises serious questions about how the coin was produced. If such a coin were verified as a genuine mint error and not the result of tampering, it would instantly attract intense attention from the numismatic world. Another fascinating possibility lies in die clashes. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between. This leaves ghostly impressions of one side's design on the other side of the coin. Die clash errors can be subtle or dramatic. On a Liberty quarter, a strong die clash could reveal unexpected outlines or shapes that were never meant to appear. When such clashes are rare and visually striking, they can command significant premiums, especially when they occur on modern coins where quality control is usually very strict. The year 1996 itself adds another layer of intrigue. This was a period of transition in American coinage, with evolving technology and increased production demands. High-speed presses were pushing out millions of coins, increasing the chances that mistakes could slip through unnoticed. While most errors were caught and destroyed, a tiny fraction escaped into circulation. These escaped errors are the ones that collectors dream about. The Liberty Quarter $1996 exists in such massive numbers that the discovery of a truly extreme error among them would shock the collecting community. Condition is another crucial factor in determining value. Even the rarest error coin can lose much of its potential value if it is heavily worn or damaged. A quarter that has circulated for decades, scratched, corroded, or cleaned improperly, may still be interesting, but it will never reach its full potential. The coins that command jaw-dropping prices are usually found in mint state condition, often preserved accidentally in rolls, bags, or collections that were never circulated. A 1996 Liberty quarter with an extraordinary error, preserved in near-perfect condition, would be a once-in-a-generation discovery. Professional authentication is essential. In the world of high-value coins, claims mean nothing without proof. Coins rumored to be worth hundreds of thousands or millions must be examined, graded, and authenticated by reputable grading services. These experts analyze metal composition, strike characteristics, die markers, and microscopic details to determine whether an error is genuine. A verified, slabbed coin with official documentation becomes a solid asset, not just a rumor. Without authentication, even the most incredible-looking quarter remains just an interesting curiosity. The idea of a value reaching $654,000 million is rooted not only in the coin itself but in the psychology of collecting. Ultra-wealthy collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying stories, uniqueness, and prestige. Owning a coin that is considered the most valuable modern quarter ever discovered is a status symbol. When multiple collectors compete for a single, unique piece, prices can rise far beyond traditional valuation models. Auctions become battles of ego, passion, and legacy. History has shown that when the right coin meets the right buyers at the right moment, records are shattered. It is also important to understand that value is not static. A coin worth a modest premium today could skyrocket tomorrow if new information emerges. A newly discovered error type, a reclassification by experts, or the rediscovery of a long-lost coin can all change the market overnight. The Liberty Quarter $1996 remains a subject of ongoing research, discussion, and speculation. Every year, collectors examine thousands of quarters, hoping to find something extraordinary hidden in plain sight.